Coming up next on AVID Achievers, highlights from our 16th Annual Student Leadership Conference hosted by North County High School. Hello and welcome to AVID Achievers. I am your host, Arida, coordinator of AVID. Today on AVID Achievers, we will celebrate our 16th Annual Student Leadership Conference. I am joined by Alexis Pogonowski, AVID Teacher Specialist, and Kelly Goforth, AVID Site Coordinator from North County High School.
Welcome to the 16th Annual AVID Student Leadership Conference hosted by North County High School, Challenge the Limits, a place where we can get together as AVID students to celebrate leadership and success.
The AVID Student Leadership Conference is a collaborative effort held each year to celebrate student leaders in AVID. Each middle and high school send representatives from their school to represent their program. During the conference, sessions are held which are planned, led, and attended by AVID students from across the county. The 16th Annual Student Leadership Conference was held at Anne Arundel Community College and hosted by the students of North County High School. The theme of the conference was Challenge the Limits. Alexis, what is the purpose of the Student Leadership Conference?
Sure. Well, I think it's really twofold. In the beginning, the team that hosts the school, so North County High School students, AVID students this year, start a whole year ahead of time with getting the chance to understand how to plan and facilitate such a large-scale event. So that's really big for those students. And then for all of our other students that get to attend the conference, there's a bunch of different purposes for them. So some of them choose to lead their own session. So they spend the fall creating a session, practicing doing it with their classmates, maybe with some other members of the school before they're ready to present at a large-scale conference. The fact that we have it on community college, gives another purpose, that it gives students access to a college campus and to seeing what that is like. They get to participate in the auditorium with the opening session and then see what it's like to travel to another building where they lead their sessions to other AVID students in the county, and then they even get to experience a lunchroom setting before they leave for the end of the day.
Sounds like a busy conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kelly, tell us about some of the planning that goes into planning a large-scale event like this.
So we put a lot of the planning onto our students, which was really cool. Some of the students had talked about previous themes of the conferences, and this year AVID's central theme was limitless. So we wanted to keep that in mind when we were picking our theme. We also had our students find quotes that support the challenging the limits, or the limits that they might encounter. They then asked local businesses for donations for our gift bags, so they practiced email etiquette with that. Our student leadership team kept growing because kids saw other students being leaders and they were really excited, I want to be part of this, which was really great. We had a student design the t-shirt. We had students ask teachers in the building for donations. We got some pretty cool stuff from Mercedes-Benz, which was really nice. And it was really a fun way to see the kids in a leadership role that they don't often get, because planning large-scale events like that isn't always given in the classroom.
So what were some of the roles that students had on the day of the event?
So we had several stage speakers, and they practiced what they were going to say in front of a pretty big audience, probably the first time they've ever spoken to that many people before in their lives. We had role leaders, so they would take students to and from classrooms. We had lunch monitors who would help hand out lunches, and then really just our students came in knowing that they were going to participate in every possible way, and they were excited about it.
So one of my favorite things this year is we had a first at the AVID Student Leadership Conference. We had a drum line. So we always have entertainment that is playing or performing while students enter. Tell us about your decision to have a drum line come to Anne Arundel.
So previously I was the student government advisor, and we rely heavily on our drum line to open up for our pep rallies. And it's always a great way to get the entire school excited for an event, because they walk around our campus getting kids ready to go to pep rally. And so we're like, what if we could bring that vibe to the student leadership conference? Our band director, Miss Bang, was nominated for North County Teacher of the Year, and she runs her program so well that the students can really just get a sentence of direction and go. So they're incredibly reliable and very passionate about it. And it also helps that both of our drum majors are AVID students. So the drum majors are AVID students. We put the leadership on them to get the drum line there. And then even the parent that drove the drum line is an AVID parent. So it's really infused through the school. And
so it was great.
Yeah.
So not only did they welcome students to the event, but they played a little set at the beginning as
Yeah.
well to kick it all off.
that was cute.
So following the drumline performance, students were greeted by Advanced Studies and Programs Senior Manager, Ms. Sheila McEwen.
AVID Scholars, you've been selected to attend today's leadership conference because you have and continue to demonstrate individual determination. In 16 years of AVID in Anne Arundel County Public Schools, many AVID students are inspired to work hard every day toward being accepted into colleges and their own personal successes. You, along with your AVID colleagues, will leave high school with the tools, skills, and mindsets to prepare you to be the innovators and leaders on the journey of your choice. Our AVID students distinguish themselves in classrooms all over the county. You students, you AVID scholars, set goals for yourselves and work hard to achieve and exceed your goals. You make the commitment to challenge yourselves with more rigorous courses every year. This year, 82% of our AVID high school students are taking honors level courses. 63% of our AVID students in grades 11 and 12 are enrolled in at least one advanced placement course. And more than half of AVID students in grades 10 through 12 are enrolled in AP. 80% of AVID 8th graders are already taking at least one high school bearing course this year. These students will enter 9th grade already with a credit on their resume. The payoff for all the hard work was recognized by last year's 463 AVID seniors who earned more than $43.9 million in scholarship offers.
So I think many people agree that one of the biggest highlights of the event every year is our student speakers that come to the event and talk. Kelly, what did you think of the student speakers this year?
The student speakers are always my favorite part. I love giving the kids the opportunity to tell their story and then just sitting back and listening to kids talk about the impact that AVID has had on them. It's always so exciting because every story is so different, but you can feel it like within your own AVID students, and I love hearing the kids talk. This year we were joined by Cynthia Ocloo from Meade High School, who spoke of the influence on AVID and her career goals.
Finally, the beginning of my 4th year in AVID, I began to change bit by bit. Every project given to us, whether it was on research in colleges or careers, I spent hours on it. In that year, I went from my ideas of becoming a businesswoman to a scientist. In these topics, they fit my personality. I wanted worldwide change. AVID's constant help in allowing its students to continue researching about their future aspirations. I'm grateful. For me, even that spark was enough for me to nurture. Even though my dreams were slightly vague, unlike my brother and sisters, it was enough for me to choose electives and classes that would allow me to grow in that area of biochemical engineering and business management. I had thought that I was limited to the way I think limited to my thoughts and ideas, but AVID has taught me that as long as I keep my mind to it and keep searching, I will overcome these limits. Thank you.
Cassandra Barber from South River High School also shared her story and offered tips for success that she learned along the way.
I believe challenging your limits means you pause long enough to understand what it is all about before deciding what to do. For me, challenging my limits was overcoming the feeling of worthlessness. It took years and the right people in my life to help me overcome my so-called limits. There are 7 steps that I have learned can help anyone overcome their limits. Step 1, find someone to help push you. This person is my best friend. She saw me for me and not the persona I put on. She told me a positive attitude will go far, and she always had a smile, which I believe means a lot. Step 2, take on a little more than what you think. Now, my dad has always told me, plan for more than what you think, and eventually you'll be able to do it, and not only do it, but make it look effortless. Step 3, imagine reaching your next goal. Now, my mom has always said, if you really visualize your goal, eventually it will be complete. And step 4, look at how others reached to where you want to go. Now, I don't know where I want to go, but I just look around the people in my life. They are all different, yet all the same. They each have different backgrounds, thoughts, opinions, and aspire to do different things. But they achieve their goals relatively the same. They all reflect on past experiences, missed opportunities, but decide the past has only helped them to become more successful and wise for the time coming. Step 5, inspire yourself to action. Now, this step was the hardest for me. It seemed like I almost didn't want to feel better. I never wanted to make the first step to dealing with my feelings. It took until my AVID teacher last year to tell me, focus on what you can do and then change it. Don't think.
And George Fox Middle School's Kylie Wahl rounded out the selected student speakers.
Hi. When I think about how I challenged the limits over the years, I think back to 6th grade when I felt like my ADHD and the transition to middle school limited my academic success. I enrolled in AVID after being eager to be more organized and keep me on track as I transitioned into 6th grade. In 6th grade, I struggled with developing the AVID skills that I needed to help me succeed. I was, as my AVID teacher lovingly says, a hot mess. By 7th grade, my AVID teacher started referring to me as the AVID poster child. Seriously, if you look up AVID in the dictionary, you'll see my bright, bouncy, bubbly smile. Goodbye disorganization, goodbye Susan D's, goodbye missed assignments, and hello straight A's. By the second quarter, I had earned straight A's for the first time, and that has remained my goal ever since. AVID to me is being college ready and working towards my goals. My ADHD continues to challenge me, and I realize that I have to work twice as hard as others when I'm not on medication, but the support, skills, encouragement, and the motivation that I find in AVID and from my AVID family is the only prescription I need to continue to challenge the limits. Thank you.
It's always amazing to me when the student speakers get up there and they speak with such poise and such composure. I think about myself as a middle or high school student looking out into a crowd of 450 people and asking to do anything. I'm not sure that I would be able to get myself together. So Alexis, what is the process for choosing these student speakers and how are they prepared for this event?
Sure. Well, first, I have to completely agree with you because I have to get up at each conference and speak for 30 seconds, and I am shaking and nervous and do not feel poised. And right after I go, usually is when the student speakers get up, and I truly the same. I marvel at they just have such confidence, and to have that in high school and then even middle school. So student speakers apply. They start their application process in the beginning of the year, and they send their speech in. So we request those from coordinators. Once we've received all of our speeches back, we get a committee together who spend time reading the scripts. And again, Kelly mentioned how every story is very different. So I do have to say that every year choosing the student speakers is incredibly difficult because every story is important. They all have their, different aspects. So it kind of comes down, honestly, sometimes just to choosing the most polished speech, because every single one of our AVID student stories are amazing, and we wish we had time to put them all up on stage.
Yeah. What guidance are they given for writing their speeches?
Sure. So they are given a lot of free rein, but told to try to tie it into the theme. So this year's theme being Challenge the Limits. That was another thing that the committee would look for, is does the speech tie into the idea of taking a limit, challenging it, and then, of course, ultimately overcoming that challenge. So I think our 3 speakers that were chosen really did a really great job exemplifying challenging the limits. Once they were chosen, I get the privilege, it's my favorite part of probably my job throughout the whole year. I get to go out to the schools, meet the students one-on-one, give them a little bit of an insight as to what the day will feel like, what the stage is going to kind of look like, when they'll go up on stage, and that's when I get to hear their voice for the first time. I get to hear them practice their speech, and it can be in different settings. Sometimes it's just at first myself and the speaker one-on-one, and they'll just do a read-through with me, and that's really cool because we can pause and kind of talk about different things. Other times I've gone, and this year our middle school speaker, she right away, we did not do one-on-one at all first. I walked in, she was standing at a podium in her classroom at George Fox and read the speech flawlessly.
Wow.
I knew she was going to be amazing, and she certainly had a lot of pizzazz when she spoke. So that was, it's great, but we definitely practice with them, help them work on, the intricacies of speech, giving a speech, so inflection and pausing and, waiting for applause, all of that kind of stuff. But again, just tell them you're going to be amongst AVID family and it will be comfortable, and get up there, and they never disappoint.
No, they certainly don't. So after we hear from student speakers, there's always a keynote speaker. So Kelly, how did you choose your keynote speaker this year?
So this year we had Josh Carroll speak. It was really great because he was previously an AVID teacher and an AVID coordinator. He was on the very first ever AVID site team, and we've all worked with him before, and his passion for AVID is so obvious. So it was a great choice for the kids to see other adults that care so much about the program and care so much about students. He was later named Teacher of the Year for Maryland and for our county, which is really wonderful. So giving somebody the stage to speak to students, it was very obvious that we could choose Josh for that.
Yeah, he was a good choice. He is very passionate about the program, and he's moved on to work with the STEM program now, but his passion for AVID and his commitment to students always shines through, so he was a good choice.
And I looked at your theme today, Challenge the Limits. What is a limit? Who puts them on you? The only limits that you have are self-imposed. There's never going to be something in your life that you cannot do. When I listen to the young ladies here share your stories and where you are today, yes, people helped you reach your outcomes, but you chose not to have any limits. Limits are self-imposed. We tell ourselves, this is too hard. I can't do it. I don't have the time for this. Oh, someone is better than me. How many of you have told yourself that sometimes? How many of you felt that way sometimes? When you are willing to remove that thought process from your being, then you will have no boundaries, you will have no limits, and success will be your only outcome.
So Alexis, what happens after the opening session?
So I know I just got done saying the speakers are my favorite part, but the sessions might be equally as much my favorite part. The whole conference is just amazing. But after the opening session, that is when, so immediately when it closes up, any student that's a presenter has to sort of rush off and get to the other building or buildings where sessions are being taken place. So they have a couple of minutes to prepare to facilitate and lead whichever session they have planned on. And then all of our students get a chance to make their way over and find their sessions, which is in and of itself an experience. Trying to find an actual classroom on a college campus, I think, is a good, useful skill for them later on. But this is our chance for our student leaders to truly shine, and they get to run through their sessions with peers and also other AVID staff throughout the county.
So how long are these sessions?
Over 45 minutes. So kids really have to plan a true lesson. And when they're planning it, they plan it in mind with Wicker. So they ensure that they have a writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and a reading component.
Wow.
Not to mention, they make sure to have an opening, some sort of interactive activity, and some sort of closing or reflection. So they're truly putting together a lesson just like our teachers would.
So I agree. All of the sessions that I saw were very engaging. My one that I really enjoyed was by Meade High School. They had a session on like building your self-confidence and using the resources of a team to make you more successful. And it involved like a really big Jenga game and some smaller Jenga games that they were using. That one looked really fun to me as a participant. Did you guys see any sessions that you particularly enjoyed?
Yeah, I believe it was Arundel High Schools, and they were concentrating on attributes. So when I walked into the session, the kids were very engaged in a silent, very intense gallery walk. So around the room were posters with different attributes written, and students were going around the room and adding in quotes, thoughts, ideas that they connected to that attribute. So that was really great. And then they were able to use, the student facilitators that were leading the session were able to use all of that sort of chalk talk throughout that gallery walk to facilitate a really great discussion on what does it mean to be passionate, what does it mean to be committed, and so on and so forth. So that session got pretty deep. I really enjoyed that. There was another session that had to do with stress, which I think is incredibly important. Our district and our schools are really getting into various wellness initiatives, and in this one, students were making their own stress balls in addition to looking at some different sort of meditation practices. So I thought that was a really great addition to our sessions this year.
Those sound great. Kelly, did you get an opportunity to stop in on any of the sessions?
Yeah, I had time for just one session. I visited Chesapeake's challenge session, and it was a Socratic seminar, and really the students took over the entire, there were 3 teachers in the room, but we just kind of sat back and let the students talk, and I think it's really powerful that it gives kids a place where they feel comfortable talking about, so the topic of the Socratic seminar was challenges, and the things that kids were sharing with each other and relating to each other. They were talking about, their financial challenges, both with college and being a high school student. They talked about challenges they encounter with race and assumptions, and really like every kid was participating and just owning the conversation, and I thought that was so beautiful to give kids a space that they feel comfortable and confident, and it didn't take any prodding or anything from the teachers in the room. We just kind of watched it happen, and I think that's a really cool part of the Student Leadership Conference.
I love that you use the word confident, because I do think that confidence shows throughout the whole leadership initiative. When the students show up and they're put in the room with other students that they don't know from schools all across the county, it is really exciting to see how quickly they begin to mesh and to really talk in front of each other and take risks with each other. It's really a really special day. So after the sessions, the kids get to have lunch, converse with people from different schools, which is always fun. And then at the end of the day, as the person who was the big planner of the day, you just get to take a deep breath and relax and be glad that everything went off as well as it did. So when you reflect back on that day, what are some of the things that make you most proud?
So I also have several dance team members in my AVID program, and we had 5 girls get together, and they planned an entire flash mob that every one of my North County students that came to the Student Leadership Conference, they learned these dance moves, and at first some of them were hesitant and not like too excited about learning how to dance, but after a while they were really just having so much fun together. And it's not always typically the kids that are always together, but they have that commonality of AVID, and you could see that in the flash mob that happened in the cafeteria. And you know, we just let the dancers teach their peers how to dance, and it was just so cool to watch them all come together over something that might not have brought them together in the first place.
That's very fun. That's very fun. So, as always, we're always thinking about the next year. So, Alexis, what do you know about next year's Student Leadership Conference?
Well, I know it's going to take place at Anne Arundel Community College. Again, they've been incredible partners with us to provide this amazing experience for our kids. And we know it's going to be hosted by Glen Burnie High School. And I know planning is already in the works, as I was talking with that coordinator that very day with some ideas and questions and excitement for next year.
So we look forward to next year, and we look forward to sharing our next leadership conference with you. We look forward to seeing you on the next AVID Achievers.